Donegal, like, it seems to be such a negative vibe around Donegal football at the moment. Like, Paddy McBrearty off injured. There doesn't seem to be a spark. They haven't scored a goal yet. There hasn't been a player for Donegal to score 10 points or over. Their highest scorer is Shane O'Donnell with 8 points. To be fair to him, that's a good tally from him in 3 games. But you'd expect more of Donegal for a Division 1 team. I mean, they're on the way down, it's hard. I think Michael Murphy's retirement and Paddy McBrearty's injury has probably foreshadowed Donegal's prospects in the next few seasons. And I think once they go down to Division 2, I think they could stay there for quite a while, Aaron. That's a bold shout, but I think Donegal, they look a busted flush at it.
Yeah, well, like when you think about it, like when if you do have Derry and Dublin come up from Division Two, which we would expect, you would look at it and you see Cork on the rise at the minute, Mead on the rise. You'd expect Kildare to get their act together. So yeah, they like it definitely wouldn't be a foregone conclusion if they do go down. And like it's mad with Donegal. I mean, it only feels like a couple of years ago they were challenging for an All Ireland. They were a team that everyone expected to challenge for an All Ireland. And fair enough, they've had Michael Murphy retire and Paddy McBrearty's injured. Maybe a few other lads have opted out. New management's come in, but there doesn't seem to be that new kick with Donegal and they're under this management. And as you said, you look at it and you start to think, are some of the rumours true maybe about Donegal players not wanting to commit and not happy with management because it just doesn't look right there at the minute?
It doesn't know. And you look at how Jim McGuinness, cemented the team together. There doesn't seem to be that with the Donegal management at the moment. And I don't know what it is. Is it just like I look at Donegal's players? Like you look at Conor O'Donnell, Joel Bradley Walsh, Quayla McGonigal. There is some very, very good young players in Donegal at the moment. So I don't think quality is necessarily an issue. Ocean Gallen's another one, Niall O'Donnell, Michael Langan. There's some excellent players there, Kieran Thompson, another one as well. I think it's just they don't gel properly together. And these players, they don't step up at the big games or they just don't want to play for Donegal. Simple as that. Like when you think about Caelan McColgan scored 3 points in the first game against Kerry. He's been out really anonymous since then. I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes with Donegal. And I think Jamie Brennan's another example. Like he exploded onto the scene in 2019 or around that year anyway, and he's only scored like a point a game or something like that. And it's very, very poor. Like even when Paddy McBrearty was fit, I think he scored 1 point in 2 games. That's not good enough as well for Paddy McBrearty standards. So I think Donegal are really they're gone for Division 1. I think I'd say it now. I know it's an early prediction, but I'd say it even now. Donegal are going to be getting relegated and they will be in Division 2 next season. I was actually thinking they could lose in Ulster in the first round against Down, but look, we'll get on to Down in Division 3 in a minute. Probably doesn't look that way, but they won't reach an Ulster final, no way. Donegal. So I think they could be in trouble. They could get a hammering or two in the All-Ireland series, even in the group stage. I think Donegal are really, really reeling. A lot of players leaving the panel, a lot of injuries, and it's come back to haunt them, Donegal. So, it looks pretty bleak.
Yeah, and is it a case nearly of an end of an era for Donegal in some ways? Because when you think about it, pre-2011, before Jim McGuinness came in, like Donegal had gone a good while, from what I remember. I think 10 plus years without winning an Ulster title. And generally speaking, they weren't a dominant force in the 2000s, in Ulster, and they weren't a dominant. They didn't really come anywhere near an All Ireland, from what I remember as well. It was only sort of the All Ireland they won in the early 90s that really stuck to them. So when you think about it, although they're a big enough county, and as you said, they have a good few young players in there, like generally speaking, they haven't always been a consistent dominant force. Like I think since Tyrone from about the late 90s up until now have generally been a force. Like they've won Ulster every other couple of years. They're always a tough team to beat. They might have had a bit of a dip on their, the sort of middle patch of Mickey Hart. And some teams have dips and then they come back up a bit, like Armagh, for example, who, sort of went into the wilderness for a couple of years and had to go all the way down to Division 3. So you're looking at it from a Donegal perspective. It looks like an end of an era in many ways, with a lot of retirements, and players getting older, players opting out. And it does seem like that sort of Donegal era of winning Ulster titles, being competitive, going for All Irelands, seems to be gone.
Yeah, and I add to that actually, like Donegal pre-2011 in 2009, for example, Cork beat them 127-2-9 in the All Ireland quarter final, and that just shows you like teams like Cork would easily beat Donegal that time. Like I think 08 they were pretty bad. 2010 they got beaten by Armagh in the first round of the qualifiers. They were pretty poor in as well. Like I think Donegal, like it was kind of a surprise really when they came on the scene in 2011 under Jim McGuinness. Like I would have backed Kildare that All Ireland quarter final because of Kildare having recent success and all that. But Donegal have had a good run at it. Like when you think about it, but when you think about it as well, Aaron, they haven't reached an All Ireland semi-final since 2014. I know they had that brilliant win over Dublin, and that memorable win with Jim the Redeemer and Jim McGuinness, all that. But those are the facts. They haven't reached the last four in, what is it now, nearly 10 years? That's not good enough, really, for the size of Donegal. Really. I know they won a few Ulster titles, but the problem was getting to the latter stages of All Ireland Championships, and they don't seem to do that. And it seems to me, despite bringing through a lot of players, they're kind of living off the successes in 2012 under Jim McGuinness and 1992. That's about it. So, yeah, pretty successful year for Donegal in terms of producing players and all that, but in terms of success, debatable, I'd say.